What's up everyone, Tera Roberts with FantasyPros bringing you my top 10 waiver ads of the week. It was another rough week with injuries and many of you may be looking for roster spots to fill from those injured players, so let's go ahead and get started. Number 10, Samaje Perine. I was very skeptical of how Samaje Perine would be utilized in this game against the Packers on Sunday. Joe Mixon's status was up in the air. Cincinnati announced that they would operate in a committee between Samaje Perine and Chris Evans if Mixon couldn't go. Nothing just really seemed solid or dependable within the Cincinnati running back group. But even with Mixon active, Perine had a great game with 11 carries for 59 yards, 4 of 5 receiving for 24 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now Mixon's snap count was very limited, and it's likely that Perine's role diminishes as Mixon's health improves, but as we've seen with other league backs such as Dalvin Cook, lingering injuries create opportunities for handcuffs, so Perine definitely showcased he's worth a roster as a solid handcuff. Number 9, RHAMONDRE Stevenson. Today's waiver list is heavy on the handcuffs because unfortunately, multiple backs went down this week and Damien Harris was one of those backs. It doesn't appear to be a very serious injury, but nonetheless, it's something that we should consider because if Damien Harris is down, RHAMONDRE Stevenson is up. Now, Stevenson did not look fantastic in action with 11 carries for just 23 yards and no pass work out of the backfield as all of that went to Brandon Bolden, who, now that I mention it, is worth an ad in deeper leagues. But if Harris misses time moving forward, Stevenson can be a great value add. Number 8, AMON-RA St. Brown. Trying to pinpoint consistency within Detroit's receiving options has been extremely hard, but I think we're finally leaning towards clarity because for the past 2 weeks, AMON-RA St. Brown has seen 8 targets and been very productive with them. 6 receptions in week 4 and 7 receptions in week 5. Quintez Cephas had an injury that could see him missing an extended amount of time. Tyrell Williams is still on IR. TJ Hawkinson has been playing through an injury. And Khalif Raymond saw 0 catches on 2 targets. St. Brown appears to be on the upswing of coming into his role within this offense after a slow start to his rookie season. Number 7, Hunter Henry. I think it's now safe to say that Hunter Henry has separated himself from Jonnu Smith and is the clear lead tight end in the Patriots offense. In fact, on Sunday, he was the overall leader in targets, catching 6 of his team-leading 8 targets for 75 yards and 1 touchdown. This is 2 weeks in a row with a touchdown and 3 weeks in a row with a minimum of 4 receptions. Henry is a value add at tight end for anyone who missed out on Dawson Knox or Dalton Schultz. Number 6, KHALIL Herbert. With David Montgomery down, we expected Damian Williams to step into the lead back role. And that did happen, but what we did not expect was just how aggressively Chicago was going to rely on the run. So much so that while Damian Williams had 16 carries, 64 yards, and 1 touchdown, Herbert added 18 carries for 75 yards. Now, can Chicago continue this level of reliance on the ground? I think they're very determined to do it. Because for the past 3 weeks, Justin Fields has yet to throw more than 20 attempts. If the Chicago backs continue to lead the way on offense, Herbert can be a viable option for the next few weeks. Number 5, Hunter RENFROW. It wasn't a pretty day overall from the Raiders offense, but for the second week in a row, Hunter Henry has led the team in targets, tied this week with Darren Waller for 8 targets. RENFROW caught 6 of those 8 targets for 56 yards. While he's not a boom player, he's showcasing that he is incredibly reliable and deserving of a roster. He's a steady receiver who you can count on for a solid floor with touchdown upside. Number 4, Tim Patrick. I'm determined to keep including Tim Patrick on my waivers list until fantasy managers finally accept him for what he is. A solid flex option that may not be flashy but can give you a very reliable floor. He won't have those big boom games that Courtland Sutton gets every now and then, but aside from week 4 where Bridgewater went down with an injury and Drew Lock stepped in unsuccessfully, Tim Patrick has been a weekly double-digit performer in PPR. This week against Pittsburgh, he caught 7 of 9 targets for 89 yards. And since KJ Hamler's injury, Patrick has seen a significant snap count increase above 90% for the past 2 weeks. He's a solid number 2 behind Courtland Sutton and will continue to see consistent work throughout the season. Number 3, DARREL Williams. As of the filming of this video, we don't know exactly how serious Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's injury is, but what we do know is that it was a knee injury and he was ruled out very quickly, which typically is not a great sign. And for the past 2 weeks, his production on the ground had taken a serious turn in the positive direction. And now if CEH is out, Darrell Williams steps into a more prominent role within this high-powered Kansas City offense. Williams has already been somewhat involved both on the ground and through the air in previous games, seeing 10 carries in week 4 with 1 touchdown. If CEH is down, Williams is definitely worth a roster spot in his absence. Number 2, KADARIUS TONEY. It was incredibly hard to keep this guy out of my number 1 spot this week, but with scarcity at the running back position coming first, my number 2 waiver ad of the week is the electric KADARIUS TONEY. Opportunity knocked for Toney last week when Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton went down with hamstring injuries. And this week, with Kenny Golladay exiting the game with a knee injury and Saquon Barkley exiting with an ankle injury, KADARIUS TONEY stepped up as the star of the Giants offense, having an insane day of 10 receptions on 13 targets for 189 yards. Yes, 189 yards. An absolute masterful performance. The receiver is showing exactly why he was a first-round draft pick, and even when the other receivers return to health, it will be extremely hard to keep such a dynamic talent off the field. Number 1, Devontae Booker. At the number 1 spot this week, we have Devontae Booker. Sunday was such a terrible game for the Giants from an injury perspective, with Kenny Golladay, Daniel Jones, and Saquon Barkley going down. We don't yet know the status of Barkley and the extent of his injury as of the filming of this video, but what we do know is that the Giants are not a team that will rush Saquon back and risk his health. So it's not unreasonable to expect that Booker could see an opportunity to have a multi-week play for you. And the Giants are also very keen on keeping their running backs involved within the pass game. Booker saw 6 carries for 42 yards, 1 touchdown on the ground, and 1 touchdown through the air, making him a high-value add if Saquon misses time. And that wraps things up for my top 10 waiver ads of the week. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Fantasy Pros across all platforms so that you don't miss out on any of our great content. And be sure to come back next week as well for another round of waiver wire ads.